Welcome to The Star, The Journey, and The Gift, a Christmas mini-series that will take you on the most extraordinary journey in biblical human history. My name is Christy, your host for this first episode called The Star Appears, Heaven's Royal Announcement. As this 5-episode mini-series unfolds, we will trace the steps of the Magi, men stirred by a heavenly sign. One night, they beheld a star unlike any other, bright, unwavering, declaring the birth of a king. With conviction, they prepared for a journey that would alter biblical history. Leaving behind their homes and comforts, the 3 Magi gathered their treasures and set out across deserts and kingdoms. Pilgrims, missionaries, chosen by God, these 3 Magi followed the light with hearts fixed on the promise awaiting them in Bethlehem. Today, we begin where all great stories of faith begin, with a divine interruption that changes everything. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let me transport you to ancient Babylon, where 3 unlikely pilgrims are about to become part of God's eternal plan. In the darkness of night, when the world slept unaware, heaven announced the arrival of its king with a light that had never been seen before. But only those who had been watching and waiting recognized its significance. Feel the cool night air of ancient Babylon against your skin as you stand on the flat rooftop of the great observatory. The year is approximately 2 BC, and you find yourself in the heart of the most learned city in the ancient world, a place where the descendants of Daniel's influence still study the stars and search the sacred scrolls for signs of the coming Messiah. The observatory rooftop stretches before you like a stone altar to the heavens, its limestone blocks still radiating the day's warmth, even as the desert night begins to claim the sky. Clay oil lamps flicker in bronze holders around the perimeter, their flames dancing against the gentle night breeze that carries the scent of distant spice markets and temple courtyards. The air itself seems to hum with anticipation, as if creation holds its breath for what is about to unfold. Below you, the great city of Babylon spreads out like a jeweled carpet. Flat-roofed houses huddle together in the darkness, their mud brick walls painted silver by starlight. The massive ziggurat rises in the distance, its stepped sides disappearing into shadow, a monument to human ambition that seems suddenly small beneath the vast canopy of heaven. From the temple courtyards far below, the distant chanting of night prayers drifts upward, mixing with the far-off bleating of sheep in the fields beyond the city walls, and the occasional bark of a dog echoing through the narrow streets. You are not alone on this rooftop. 3 figures move with practiced precision among the astronomical instruments. Bronze astrolabes, marble sundials, and wooden measuring devices that gleam dully in the lamplight. These are the Magi, the wise men of the East, scholars whose very lives are dedicated to reading the signs written in the stars and sacred scrolls. Caspar, the youngest of the 3, moves with the eager energy of a man passionate about his calling. Perhaps 30 years old, he carries himself with the confident stride of someone who has spent countless nights mapping the heavens. His dark hair is already showing streaks of premature silver from years of squinting at celestial calculations by lamplight. Tonight, he wears a deep blue robe of fine wool. Its hem embroidered with silver thread that catches the lamplight as he moves. Around his neck hangs a leather cord bearing a small bronze medallion inscribed with astronomical symbols, the mark of his scholarly rank. Watch him as he adjusts his bronze astrolabe with trembling fingers, his breathing quick and shallow with excitement. Scrolls of star charts spill from the leather satchel at his side, their edges yellowed with age and constant use. When he speaks, his voice carries the tremor of a man who has just witnessed the impossible. Melchior stands near the eastern parapet, a man in his middle years whose weathered face speaks of decades spent in scholarly pursuit. His beard, now more silver than black, is carefully trimmed in the fashion of learned men. He wears robes of deep purple, a color that speaks of both wealth and wisdom, and his fingers bear the ink stains of a man who spends his days copying and studying ancient text. In his hands, he holds a scroll of particular reverence, Hebrew text written in the careful script of the scribes. This is his treasure, his life's work. The prophecies of Daniel, copied and recopied, studied and memorized until every word lives in his heart. The leather case at his feet contains dozens more scrolls, prophecies, genealogies, calculations of time and seasons that point to this very moment. Balthazar, the eldest of the three, commands respect through his very presence. Perhaps 60 years old, his face is deeply lined with the wisdom of years and the weight of spiritual responsibility. His white beard flows down to his chest, and his eyes hold the depth of a man who has seen visions that others only dream of. He wears robes of rich brown wool, simple yet dignified, and around his waist is a leather belt bearing keys to the treasury rooms where the gifts are kept. Tonight, he stands slightly apart from the others, his deep voice carrying the authority of spiritual insight as he speaks. In his hands, he holds not scrolls or instruments, but a small wooden box, one of three that contains the gifts that will soon carry on the greatest journey of their lives. The night is filled with the familiar sounds of their scholarly work. The soft whisper of parchment as Melchior unrolls ancient scrolls. The gentle clink of bronze against stone as Caspar adjusts his instruments. The rustle of robes as Balthazar moves between the lampstands. From Melchior's scrolls comes the distinctive smell of aged parchment and cedar oil used to preserve the sacred text, mixing with the frankincense smoke that rises from temple altars throughout the city. You can smell the complex perfume of an ancient city, the dusty scent of some baked brick and mortar that still radiates heat from the day's blazing sun, the faint aroma of cooking fires and evening meals drifting up from the houses below, and the bittersweet scent of myrrh from the spice merchants' storehouses. The leather of their scrolls and satchels adds its own earthy fragrance to the night air. Feel the rough limestone beneath your sandaled feet. still warm from the day's sun, but cooling rapidly in the desert's sudden chill. The woolen robe around your shoulders provides welcome comfort against the night air. Its coarse weave familiar and reassuring. Your fingers trace the carved symbols on the stone parapet, astronomical markings worn smooth by generations of stargazers who have stood in this very spot, searching the heavens for signs and wonders. It is Caspar who sees it first. His sharp intake of breath cuts through the night air like a blade. The bronze astrolabe slips from his suddenly nerveless fingers, clattering against the stone with a sound that seems to echo across the rooftops. His arms rise slowly, trembling, to point toward the western sky. Brothers? His voice barely a whisper, thick with awe and disbelief. Look there, in the constellation of the Virgin. Melchior's head snaps up from his scroll, the precious parchment forgotten as his eyes follow Caspar's pointing finger. Balthazar moves with surprising speed for his age, his sandals scraping against the stone as he joins them at the western parapet. And then you see it. There, blazing against the darkening heavens like a sapphire set in black velvet, burns a star unlike any other. It pulses with an inner fire that seems to beat with the rhythm of a divine heartbeat, casting light that is somehow both brilliant and gentle, piercing yet comforting. This is no ordinary celestial body. It moves with purpose, defying every law of astronomy they have ever studied. The star's light paints the rooftop silver, casting long shadows behind the astronomical instruments and making the bronze fittings gleam like gold. Its radiance seemed to reach down and touch each of them personally, as if heaven itself is extending an invitation written in light across the darkness. Caspar's voice trembles with scientific precision and spiritual awe. Brothers, this star, it moves against heavens themselves. No natural law governs its path. It appears where no star should exist, in a position that violates every principle of celestial movement I have ever studied. His hands shake as he reaches for his star charts, unrolling them with desperate urgency. The parchment crackles in the night air as he spreads the carefully drawn maps across the stone surface, weighing down the corners with bronze instruments. His finger traces constellation patterns, checking and rechecking calculations that suddenly seem inadequate to explain what blazes above them. Look here, he says, his voice growing stronger with excitement. According to every chart we possess, this region of sky should be empty. Yet there it burns, brighter than Venus at her peak, pulsing with a rhythm I have never observed in any celestial body. Melchior's weathered hands tremble as he opens the scroll of Daniel, his voice growing stronger with each familiar word. 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. The Hebrew letters seem to glow in the lamplight as he traces them with his finger, years of study, crystallizing into this moment of recognition. From the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. His voice breaks with emotion as the calculation completes itself in his mind. Brothers, the time is fulfilled. 483 years from Artaxerxes' decree. The Anointed One has come. Balthazar's deep voice carries the weight of spiritual authority as he speaks, his aged hands steady despite the magnitude of the moment. In my dreams these past nights, I have seen visions that now make perfect sense. A child whose face shone like the sun, yet lay in the humblest of places. I heard voices of angels declaring peace on earth, and I saw kings from distant lands bringing gifts. He opens the small wooden box in his hands, revealing a portion of the gold that will soon make its journey westward. The precious metal catches the starlight and reflects it back, creating tiny points of light that dance across their faces. The Most High has shown me our calling, Balthazar continues, his voice filled with quiet certainty. We are to be among those kings. This star is our guide. This moment, our divine appointment. The 3 men stand. They stand in silence for a long time, the weight of destiny settling upon their shoulders like a mantle. The star pulses above them, patient but insistent, waiting for their response to heaven's invitation. You can feel the transformation happening in real time as these scholarly men become pilgrims, as astronomers become worshipers, as students of prophecy become participants in its fulfillment. The night air seems to shimmer with possibility, and every familiar sound takes on a new meaning. Melchior rolls up his scroll with reverent care, his movements deliberate and purposeful. We are not the first to be called by heaven's light, he says, his voice thoughtful. Our ancestor Balaam prophesied of this very moment. I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star shall come out of Jacob. A scepter shall rise out of Israel. Caspar nods, his scientific mind grappling with the supernatural reality before them. This star defies natural law because it serves a supernatural purpose. It is not bound by the mechanics of celestial movement because it is guided by the hand of the Creator himself. The implications wash over them like waves. This is not merely an astronomical phenomenon to be studied and cataloged. This is a divine summons, a call to leave everything familiar and follow heaven's light to its destination. Feel the cool night breeze pick up, carrying with it the sense of the sleeping city and the promise of dawn still hours away. The oil lamps flicker more intensely, their flames bending toward the west as if even the fire itself is drawn toward the star's destination. Balthazar's voice carries the weight of years and the authority of spiritual insight. This star announces the birth of the King of the Jews, but its light shines for all nations. We who are Gentiles, we who are foreigners to the covenant, are being called to be the first to worship him. The profound nature of this calling settles over them. They represent the nations, the Gentiles who will one day stream to the light of Israel's Messiah. Their journey will be more than a personal pilgrimage. It will be a prophetic declaration that salvation has come for all people, not just the chosen nation. As they stand beneath the blazing star, none of them can know the full scope of what they are witnessing. This supernatural light that announces the Messiah's birth will have its counterpart 33 years hence, when supernatural darkness will cover the earth at his death. The cosmic signs will bookend his earthly ministry, showing that all of creation responds to its Creator's presence. The star that guides them to worship the newborn King will find its echo in the darkness that acknowledges the dying Savior. Both moments will demonstrate that this child's life is no ordinary human story, but the very intersection of heaven and earth, the place where divine love takes human form. Caspar begins gathering his instruments with new purpose, his movements quick and efficient. We must begin calculations for the journey immediately. The star moves westward, toward Judea, toward Jerusalem, toward the land of promise. Melchior carefully rolls his scrolls, securing them in their leather cases. We will need provisions for many months of travel. The journey to Judea is treacherous, through desert and mountain passes, through territories controlled by bandits and hostile tribes. Balthazar's eyes remain fixed on the star, his voice filled with quiet determination. The gifts must be prepared: gold for his kingship, frankincense for his deity, myrrh for his voice trails off, as if he senses something prophetic in that third gift that he cannot yet fully understand. Below them, Babylon continues its ancient rhythms, unaware that history is pivoting on this rooftop. Merchants sleep beside their wares, dreaming of profitable trades. Mothers nurse their children, whispering lullabies in the darkness. Temple priests tend the eternal flames, maintaining rituals that have continued for centuries. But on this rooftop, 3 men have been chosen to witness the beginning of the greatest story ever told. They have been selected by divine providence to be the first Gentiles to worship the Jewish Messiah, the first foreigners to recognize the universal King, the first scholars to understand that all their learning has been preparation for this moment. The star continues to pulse above them, patient but insistent, a celestial lighthouse calling them to the greatest adventure of faith in human history. Its light seems to reach down and touch their hearts, igniting a flame of purpose that will sustain them through months of difficult travel and lead them to kneel before the Almighty Christ, a child that was born in a humble stable. As the night deepens around them, the 3 Magi stand at the crossroads of destiny. Behind them lies everything familiar: their comfortable lives, their scholarly pursuits, their positions of respect in Babylonian society. Ahead lies the unknown, a journey of faith following a star to worship a king they have never seen. The decision forms in their hearts simultaneously, as if the star's light has synchronized their spirits. They will go. They will follow. They will worship. Caspar's voice, no longer trembling but filled with resolve. We leave at the next new moon, that gives us time to prepare for the journey and arrange our affairs. Melchior nods, his scholarly mind already planning. We must study the routes, gather supplies, and select the gifts worthy of a king. Balthazar's deep voice carries the weight of prophetic certainty. This is our calling, brothers. We have been chosen for this moment since before the foundation of the world. As you stand with them on that rooftop, feeling the stars' light warm your face and the cool night air stir your robes, you begin to understand the magnificent scope of God's plan. This star was placed in the heavens before time began, waiting for this precise moment to blaze forth and call these specific men to this sacred journey. Nothing about this moment is accidental. The timing, the location, the men chosen to witness it. All of it has been orchestrated by divine providence. The same God who spoke light into existence at creation has now lit a star to announce that the light of the world has been born. The Magi don't yet know that their journey will parallel the very life of the one they seek. They will travel through hardship and danger, just as he will walk the difficult path to Calvary. They will face rejection and hostility, just as he will be despised and rejected by men. They will arrive at their destination to find not a palace, just as he will choose humility over earthly glory throughout his life. Step away from the rooftop observatory of Babylon for a moment, dear friend. And join me in a place that exists outside of time, a sacred space where the voices of prophecy and fulfillment come together around a simple wooden table. But this time, you are not just observing, you are part of the conversation. Pull up your stool and take your place at this divine round table. Feel your sandaled feet across the threshold of a room that could exist in any era of biblical history. The walls are built of honey-colored limestone blocks, their surfaces worn smooth by countless hands and softened by the golden glow of oil lamps. Wooden beams of cedar and olive wood stretch across the ceiling, their rich grain darkened by centuries of lamp smoke and the passage of time. The air is thick with the scent of burning olive oil from the bronze lamps that cast dancing shadows on the walls. Mixed with this is the distinctive aroma of aged parchment, the earthy smell of clay tablets, and the faint fragrance of frankincense that seems to linger in every sacred space. From outside the single window, you can hear the distant sounds of an ancient city, the bleating of goats, the calls of merchants, the rhythmic pounding of grain being ground, and the soft murmur of evening prayers drifting from nearby courtyards. In the center of this timeless chamber sits a table of dark olive wood, its surface worn smooth by generations of use. The grain tells stories, rings marking years of growth, knots speaking of storms weathered, scratches recording countless scrolls unrolled across its surface. As you take your place at the table, your fingers naturally trace these marks, feeling the weight of history in every groove. 5 wooden stools now surround the table, one for you, dear listener, right here between Matthew and Isaiah. Upon the table rests a single bronze oil lamp, its flame steady and bright, casting a warm circle of light that draws all of you together across the centuries. Moses sits directly across from you, and when his eyes meet yours, you feel the weight of encountering a man who has spoken with God face to face. His weathered hands, scarred by 40 years in the wilderness, rest gently on a scroll of the Torah, the very words he received on Mount Sinai. His beard, white as the snow on Hermon's Peak, flows down to his chest, and his eyes hold the depth of one who has seen the glory of the Almighty and lived to tell of it. To your right sits Matthew, close enough that you can smell the fresh ink on his parchment and hear the soft scratch of his reed stylus. His tax collector's precision is evident in his careful posture and methodical arrangement of his writing materials. His Greek education shows in his cultured appearance, yet his Jewish heart beats with love for the Messiah he followed. He glances at you with the warmth of a fellow seeker, someone who understands what it means to have your life changed by encountering Jesus. To your left, Isaiah radiates the intensity of a man who has seen the Lord high and lifted up. His prophet's mantle, woven of coarse wool, brushes against your arm as he leans forward to speak. When his voice carries across the table, you feel the authority of one who has stood in the council of the Most High. His scroll bears the words of comfort and judgment, written in his own careful script. Daniel sits between Moses and Matthew, a man caught between two worlds, the wisdom of Babylon and the faith of Israel. His clothing reflects his position in the royal court, a robe of deep purple silk with gold threading. His hands bear the ink of stains of a scribe, and when he looks at you, he carries his eyes with the weight of visions that span centuries. Beside him lie clay tablets inscribed with calculations and prophecies. The lamp flame flickers as Moses speaks first, but his eyes include you in his address. Matthew, my friend here. He nods toward you. When I led Israel through the wilderness, we followed a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day. But you write of something even more wondrous, a star that moved at God's command. Matthew turns to you with excitement. Can you imagine it? When I interviewed those who witnessed the star, I thought of Moses' pillar of fire. Both were supernatural lights sent by the same God to guide his people to their destiny. You lean forward, feeling the smooth wood of the table beneath your palms, and find yourself speaking. But Moses, Matthew, wasn't there something different about this star? The pillar of fire guided Israel as a nation, but this star called individual hearts from foreign lands. Isaiah's eyes light up as he turns to you. Exactly. My friend, you understand. I wrote, nations will come to your light and kings to the brightness of your rising. The star was the fulfillment of that prophecy, God's light calling the Gentiles to worship Israel's Messiah. Feel the weight of this moment as you realize you are not just listening to this conversation, you are shaping it. The parchment beneath Matthew's hand is smooth and cream-colored, and when he gestures toward his writing, inviting you to look, you can see the elegant Greek letters that seem to dance in the lamplight. Daniel's voice joins the conversation, rich with the accent of the Babylonian court. But his eyes are on you. Friend, in my visions, I saw the Ancient of Days and one like the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven. But Matthew describes him coming as a helpless infant. How do you reconcile this? You feel the weight of this question, and Matthew encourages you with a nod. Daniel, you find yourself saying? Maybe that's the beauty of it. The same one you saw receiving dominion and glory chose to come first in humility. The star announced both his birth and pointed to his death. Moses strokes his beard thoughtfully. Our dear friend speaks wisdom. The same God who appeared to me in the burning bush, consuming fire that did not destroy, came as a baby who would not break a bruised reed. Matthew's stylus pauses over his parchment as he looks at you. You're helping me see this more clearly. The Magi brought myrrh, burial spice for a baby. They were prophesying his death at his birth without even knowing it. Isaiah unfurls his scroll with reverent hands, the parchment crackling softly in the lamplight. He looks at you directly as he reads, Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. His voice trembles with prophetic passion. My friend, when I wrote these words, I saw this very moment, not just the Magi's journey, but you, here, understanding what it means. Tell us, what do you see in their story? You feel the frankincense-scented air fill your lungs as you consider his question. Isaiah, I think the Magi represents all of us who are searching. They had wealth, education, position, but they left it all to follow a star because their hearts were hungry for something more. Daniel leans forward, his clay tablets catching the lamplight. Yes, and they had my calculations, my prophecies. The star confirmed what the word had already revealed. Faith and reason working together. Matthew nods enthusiastically, then turns to you. But here is what amazes me. They didn't need a palace to recognize the king. What does that say to you? Moses' weathered fingers traces the Hebrew letters on his scroll as he addresses you directly. Child, I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob. A scepter will rise out of Israel. His eyes meet yours across the table. These were Balaam's words, spoken against his will. Even a pagan prophet was compelled to speak of the coming star. But you have the privilege of seeing the fulfillment. Tell me, how does that change how you read these ancient words? You feel the texture of the wooden table beneath your fingers as you lean forward. Moses, it makes every prophecy feel alive. When I hear about the star now, I am not just learning about history. I am seeing God's faithfulness across centuries. The same God who spoke to you on the mountain lit that star in Babylon. Isaiah places his hand on your shoulder, his prophet's mantle brushing your arm. And the same light that called the Magi is calling hearts today. The invitation, it hasn't ended. Daniel spreads his clay tablets across the table, and you can see the cuneiform inscriptions up close. Friend, in my 70 weeks prophecy, I calculated the exact timing of Messiah's coming. 483 years from the decree to restore Jerusalem. He looks at you intently. The Magi in Babylon were my spiritual descendants. When the star appeared, they knew the time had come. But what strikes you about their response? You consider his question, aware that all four men are listening. Daniel, they didn't just acknowledge the prophecy, they acted on it. They could have stayed comfortable in Babylon, but they risked everything to worship him. Matthew's stylus moves across his parchment as he captures your words. That's exactly right. They show us that true faith requires action, not just knowledge. Moses nods approvingly. Like Abraham, they went out not knowing where they were going, but trusting the one who called them. The conversation pauses, and you find yourself asking, what has been on your heart? But what about the darkness? Matthew, you mentioned supernatural darkness at his death. How does that connect to the star? The room grows quiet, and Matthew's face grows solemn. The star that announced his birth with supernatural light had its counterpart at his death. When he hung on the cross, supernatural darkness covered the earth from the 6th hour until the 9th hour. Isaiah's voice carries the comfort he was called to bring. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. But sometimes, my friend, we have to walk through darkness to reach the light. You feel the weight of this truth. So, the Magi's journey through the desert darkness, following the star, was like our journey through life's darkness, following Christ? Daniel's eyes brighten. Now you are seeing the deeper pattern. Their physical journey mirrors our spiritual journey. Moses gestures toward you. Tell us, friend, what do you think about the gifts the Magi brought? You look around the table at these giants of faith. The gold declared his kingship, the frankincense his deity, and the myrrh. You pause. Understanding dawning. The myrrh prophesied his sacrifice. Matthew looks up from his writing with excitement. Yes, they told the complete story of salvation at his birth. He came as king to rule us, as God to redeem us, and as sacrifice to save us. Isaiah leans toward you. And now you understand why I wrote that nations would come to his light. The Magi were the first, but not the last. Daniel adds, their worship in that stable echoes through eternity. Every time someone from the nations comes to Christ, the Magi's journey continues. The lamp flame grows brighter as Moses asks you directly, Child, how does this story change you? What will you do with what you have heard? You feel the weight of their attention, these men who shaped salvation history. Moses, Daniel, Isaiah, Matthew. Sitting here with you, I realize the star is still shining. The same God who called the Magi across the desert is calling hearts today. Matthew's eyes fill with tears. That's what I wrote in my gospel, so people like you could meet Jesus. the same Jesus I knew and loved. Isaiah's voice carries prophetic authority, and the light you have received, you must share. The Magi returned home and told their story. What will you do with yours? You look around the table at these faithful witnesses. I will remember that following Christ is not always easy. The Magi faced desert, danger, and disappointment in Jerusalem, but it's always worth it when you find him. Daniel turns to you with a question that pierces your heart. Friend, the Magi brought their best gifts: gold, frankincense, myrrh. What gifts do you bring to the king? The question hangs in the frankincense-scented air as you consider your response. I bring my heart, my worship, my willingness to follow wherever he leads, even if it's through desert places. Moses nods with approval. That's the same heart the Magi had. They brought treasures, but their greatest gift was their worship. Matthew looks up from his parchment, and their obedience. When God warned them in a dream to go home another way, they obeyed. Are you willing to let God change your path? As the conversation deepens, you notice the room itself seems to respond. The lamplight grows brighter, casting away every shadow. The scent of frankincense grows stronger, as if your discussion has sanctified the very air. The parchments and scrolls seem to glow with inner light, the words written upon them alive with divine purpose. Outside, the sounds of the ancient city fade, replaced by something that might be the distant sound of angelic choirs or the whisper of the Spirit moving through the centuries. Isaiah turns to you with prophetic intensity. Do you hear that? The same angels who announced his birth to the shepherds are rejoicing over this conversation. You strain to listen, and yes, there is something in the air, a sense of heaven drawing near. If I had been there, you find yourself saying, would I have had the faith to follow the star like the Magi did? Moses reaches across the table and places his weathered hand over yours. Child, you are following the star. Every time you choose faith over fear, obedience over comfort, worship over worldliness, you are making the same journey they made. Daniel adds, the star was external for them, but Christ is internal for you. You carry the light they followed. Matthew's stylist pauses as he looks at you with wonder. That's beautiful. I wish I could add that to my gospel, that everyone who follows Christ is continuing the Magi's journey. Isaiah's voice carries prophetic fire, and everyone who shares this story becomes a star themselves, pointing others to the light of the world. The conversation turns as Moses addresses you directly. But following the star costs the Magi everything: their comfort, their security, their familiar life. What is following Christ costing you? You feel the weight of an honest examination. Sometimes it costs me popularity when I stand for truth. Sometimes it costs me comfort when I am called to serve. Sometimes it costs me control when I have to trust God's timing. Daniel nods knowingly. I lost my position, my homeland, my freedom. But I gained visions of the eternal kingdom. The cost is always worth the prize. Matthew adds, I lost my tax booth, my wealth, my old friends, but I gained Jesus. Best trade I ever made. Isaiah's voice carries comfort, and the God who provided for the Magi's journey will provide for yours. The same gold that funded their trip still funds his work today through willing hearts. But practically, you ask, how do I live this out? How do I follow the star in my everyday life? The 4 men exchange glances and Matthew speaks first. You listen for his voice like the Magi listened for the angel's warning. You obey what you hear, even when it changes your plans. Moses added, you worship him in whatever stable you find him, in the ordinary moments, not just the spectacular ones. Daniel contributes, you study his word like the Magi studied my prophecies. Faith needs both revelation and understanding. Isaiah concludes, and you share your story like the Magi shared theirs. Everyone who encounters Christ becomes a witness. As the conversation flows around the table, you realize you are not just learning about the Magi. You are discovering your own calling. Each man speaks into your life. Moses, remember the same God who parted the Red Sea can part whatever obstacles block your path to worship. Daniel, trust his timing. The star appeared at exactly the right moment, and God's timing in your life is perfect too. Isaiah, don't despise humble beginnings. The Magi found the king, not in a palace. Matthew, and write it down. Record what God does in your life so others can be encouraged. You look around the table at these faithful witnesses. Thank you for helping me see that the Magi's story is really my story, our story. We are all called to follow the light, bring our gifts, and worship the King. The lamp flame flickers as if heaven itself is pleased with your understanding. Matthew's stylus moves across his parchment. And now you understand why I had to write this gospel. The story isn't finished. It continues with every heart that follows the star to find Jesus. As the conversation draws toward its close, you sit in contemplative silence with these giants of faith. The lamp flame burns steady and bright, a reminder of the light that came into the world and was not overcome by darkness. Daniel speaks softly, his eyes meeting yours. Friend, the Magi thought they were making a journey to worship a newborn king. They could not know they were participating in the greatest story ever told. And neither can you always see the full significance of your own journey of faith. Isaiah nods, his prophet's mantle rustling. They followed a star, not knowing it was leading them to the star of Jacob, the light of nations, the hope of all peoples. You follow Christ, sometimes not knowing where he's leading, but trusting his goodness. Moses adds, his weathered hand gesturing towards you. They brought gifts to a baby, not realizing they were presenting offerings to the Lamb of God, who would take away the sin of the world. Every act of worship you offer, every gift you bring, participates in that same eternal reality. Matthew looks around the table, then directly at you. And I thought I was simply recording what I had seen and heard. I did not fully understand that I was documenting the fulfillment of everything they had prophesied. Your life story is part of that same continuing fulfillment. You lean forward, feeling the smooth wood beneath your palms. But what about when the journey gets difficult? The Magi face desert, bandits, Herod's deception. What do I do when following Christ leads through hard places? Moses' eyes kindle with understanding. Child, I led Israel through 40 years of wilderness. The same God who provided manna in the desert and water from the rock will provide what you need for your journey. Daniel adds, I was thrown into a lion's den for my faith, but God shut the lions' mouths. He will protect you through whatever lions you face. Isaiah's voice carries prophetic comfort. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. Matthew reaches across the table and touches your arm. And remember, Jesus himself walked through the ultimate darkness, death itself, to bring us to eternal light. He understands every struggle you will face. The lamp flame grows brighter as Isaiah turns to you with prophetic intensity. Now you must go and be a star yourself. The Magi returned home and told their story. Everyone who heard it became part of the expanding circle of those who knew the King had come. You feel the weight of this calling. So, I'm not just learning about the Magi. I'm continuing their mission? Daniel's eyes light up. Exactly. Every time you tell this story, every time you point someone toward Christ, you're extending their journey across more centuries, more cultures, more hearts. Moses nods approvingly. The same God who called them to follow the star is calling you to be a star, a light that points others to the light of the world. Matthew's stylus moves across his parchment one final time. And that's why I wrote this gospel, not just to record history, but to continue the invitation. The star still shines through stories like this one. As your time in this timeless chamber draws to a close, the room seems to pulse with divine presence. The limestone walls appear to glow with inner light. The cedar beams seem to reach toward heaven, and the very air shimmers with the weight of eternity touching time. You look around the table at these faithful witnesses. Moses, who gave the law. Daniel, who calculated the timing. Isaiah, who prophesied the light. Matthew, who recorded the fulfillment. And you realize that you have been invited into their company, not as a spectator, but as a participant. The parchments and scrolls on the table seem to merge into one continuous story. The story of God's relentless love pursuing humanity across centuries, through prophecy and fulfillment, through law and grace, through darkness and light. Isaiah places his hand on your shoulder one final time. Before you leave this place, make your covenant. The Magi committed to following the star wherever it led. What is your commitment? You feel the weight of this moment surrounded by these giants of faith. I commit to follow Christ wherever he leads, to bring him my best gifts, to worship him in whatever circumstances I find him, and to tell others about the light that has changed my life. Moses smiles with the warmth of a spiritual father. Then you are truly one of us, a follower of the light, a seeker of the King, a bearer of the good news. Daniel adds, and remember, the same God who guided the Magi's journey will guide yours. Trust in his timing, trust his provision, and trust his purpose. Matthew looks up from completing his writing. Your story is now part of the gospel story. Live it well. The bronze lamp continues to burn as you prepare to leave this sacred space. Its flame a reminder that the light of the world still shines, still calls, still welcomes all who will follow the star to worship the King. Moses carefully rolls up his Torah scroll, the parchment whispering softly as it returns to its protective case. Daniel gathers his clay tablets, their calculations having found perfect fulfillment in the Christ child's birth. Isaiah's prophetic scroll bears witness to visions realized, promises kept, light dawning in darkness. And Matthew continues to write, his stylus moving across the parchment in the lamplight, recording not just what he witnessed, but what he now understands more deeply through this conversation across the centuries and through your participation in it. As you rise from the table, the wooden stool scraping softly against the stone floor, you carry with you more than knowledge. You carry calling. The same star that called the Magi across the desert is calling you across whatever distances separate you from fuller worship, deeper obedience, more complete surrender to the King. The conversation between two testaments reminds you that the same God who spoke through Moses, Daniel, and Isaiah also guided Matthew's pen, lit the star that called the Magi westward, and orchestrated this very conversation to speak into your heart today. You are not an accident at this table. You are not a casual observer of this story. You are a chosen participant in the continuing journey of the star, a living extension of the Magi's mission, a contemporary witness to the eternal truth that the light has come into the world and the darkness has not overcome it. As you move forward through the threshold of this timeless room, the voices of these faithful witnesses echo in your heart. Moses, follow the light wherever it leads. Daniel, trust God's perfect timing. Isaiah, share the light you have received. Matthew, live the gospel story. The lamp flame flickers one final time as you cross the threshold, but its light continues to burn into your heart. You carry with you the understanding that what the Magi experienced was planned before the foundation of the world, prophesied through the centuries, and fulfilled in the perfect timing of God's eternal love. And now you understand that your own journey of faith is part of that same eternal story, not an ending, but a continuation, not a conclusion, but a commission. Not just a beautiful tale from the past, but a living invitation for today. The star still shines. The King still reigns. The invitation still stands. And you are part of the story now. Return with me now to the rooftop in Babylon, where 3 scholars have become pilgrims, where starlight has become calling, where the greatest journey in human history is about to begin. But carry with you the understanding that what they are about to experience was planned before the foundation of the world, prophesied through the centuries, and fulfilled in the perfect timing of God's eternal love. And remember, you were always meant to be part of this conversation. The star that called them is calling you. The journey that transformed them is transforming you. The King they worshipped is waiting for your worship too. The round table discussion continues in your heart. The lamp burns on. The story lives. The star pulses above them with a steady rhythm, like the heartbeat of heaven itself. In its light, they can almost see the future unfolding, the long journey ahead, the challenges they will face, the moment when they will finally kneel before the newborn king. But they cannot see beyond that stable to the cross that awaits 33 years hence. They cannot know that the gold they will bring will fund the Holy Family's escape to Egypt, that the frankincense will declare a priesthood that will culminate in the ultimate sacrifice, or that the myrrh will prophesy a death that will conquer death itself. The star knows, heaven knows, and in this moment, as these three unlikely pilgrims prepare to become part of the greatest story ever told, the very cosmos holds its breath in anticipation. As the hours pass, you watch the transformation taking place, not just in the hearts of the Magi, but in the very atmosphere around you. The familiar rooftop has become a sacred space, a place where heaven has touched earth and called ordinary men to extraordinary purpose. The oil lamps burn lower, their flames creating dancing shadows that seem to move in rhythm with the stars' pulsing light. The night sounds of the city take on new meaning. Every bleating sheep reminds them of the shepherds who will soon hear angelic choirs. Every temple bell echoes with the promise of Emmanuel, God with us. Caspar spreads his star charts one final time, but now he studies them not as an astronomer cataloging celestial movements, but as a pilgrim planning a sacred journey. His finger traces the route westward through the desert wastes and mountain passes that separate them from their destiny. The journey will take us through Palmyra, he says, his voice filled with new purpose, then south through Damascus, and finally to Jerusalem. 6 months, perhaps 7, depending on the weather and the political situation. Melchior nods, his mind already calculating the supplies they will need. We must travel as merchants to avoid suspicion. 3 wealthy scholars carrying precious gifts will attract unwanted attention from bandits and tax collectors alike. Balthazar opens the other 2 boxes he has brought to the rooftop, revealing treasures that seem to glow with their own inner light. The frankincense crystals look like frozen tears of joy, translucent and perfect. Each one a prayer made solid. The myrrh resin appears dark and mysterious in the lamplight, its bittersweet aroma speaking of mysteries yet to be revealed. These are not mere gifts, Balthazar says, his voice heavy with prophetic understanding. They are declarations, prophecies, announcements of who this child truly is. He lifts a piece of the frankincense, and its sacred fragrance fills the night air. This declares his deity. Only God deserves the incense of worship, the prayers that rise like smoke before the throne of heaven. The gold coins catch the starlight, each one bearing the image of earthly kings who will one day bow before the eternal King. This acknowledges his kingship, not the temporary rule of earthly monarchs, but the everlasting dominion of the Prince of Peace. The myrrh releases its complex aroma as he handles it, mysterious, speaking of healing and preservation, but also of death and burial. And this? His voice trails off, as if he senses something in this gift that his conscious mind cannot yet grasp. This speaks of sacrifice, though I do not yet understand how. As dawn approaches, the first hints of activity begin to stir in the city below. Bakers light their ovens, sending the aroma of fresh bread drifting up to the rooftop. Merchants begin to prepare their stalls, and the sound of wooden wheels on stone streets announces the beginning of another day of commerce. But for the three Magi, this is not just another dawn. This is the beginning of the most important journey in human history. Not just their journey to Bethlehem, but humanity's journey from darkness to light, from separation to reconciliation, from death to life. The star continues to shine, even as the eastern horizon begins to pale with approaching sunrise. Its light seems undimmed by the growing daylight, a reminder that this is no ordinary celestial body, but a divine beacon that will guide them through whatever lies ahead. Over the following days, you watch as their comfortable scholarly life transforms into focused preparation for the journey ahead. The rooftop observatory becomes a planning center, with maps spread across tables and lists of supplies growing longer each day. Caspar works feverishly on his calculations, determining the best routes and timing for their departure. His astronomical instruments are carefully packed in padded cases, along with copies of his most important star charts. He selects only the essential tools, knowing that every pound of weight will matter during the long desert crossing. Melchior spends his days in the library, copying crucial passages from the prophetic text onto smaller, more portable scrolls. His fingers are permanently stained with ink as he works to preserve the most important prophecies about the Messiah. These scrolls will be their spiritual compass, guiding them not just geographically, but theologically to their destination. Balthazar oversees the preparation of the gifts, ensuring they are properly preserved for the long journey. The gold is divided among several leather pouches to distribute the weight. The frankincense is wrapped in silk cloth to protect its delicate crystals. The myrrh is sealed in small alabaster jars to preserve its potency. Word of their intended journey spreads through the scholarly community of Babylon, creating ripples of excitement and concern. Some colleagues think they have lost their minds, abandoning comfortable positions to chase a star across the desert. Others sense the significance of what they are undertaking and offer support and encouragement. You watch as their wives and families struggle with the reality of their departure. Caspar's young wife weeps as she helps him pack, not understanding why her husband must leave their comfortable home to follow a star. Melchior's grown children worry about their father's health during such an arduous journey. Balthazar's grandchildren cling to his robes, sensing that this departure is different from his usual scholarly travels. But in the eyes of the three Magi, you see a certainty that transcends human understanding. They have been called by heaven itself, and no earthly consideration can deter them from their purpose. Each night, they return to the rooftop to observe their celestial guide. The star continues to shine with unwavering brilliance, its position shifting slightly westward each evening, as if patiently waiting for them to begin their journey. Other astronomers come to observe this unprecedented phenomenon, but they see only an unusual star. The Magi see a divine invitation, a cosmic announcement that the King of Kings has been born and awaits their worship. The star's light seems to penetrate their very souls, filling them with a peace that surpasses understanding and a joy that bubbles up from the deepest springs of their hearts. They are no longer merely scholars studying celestial events. They have become participants in the greatest story ever told. As the new moon approaches, marking the time for their departure, the intensity of preparation reaches its peak. Camels are selected for their strength and endurance. Supplies are carefully calculated and packed. Routes are finalized and contingency plans made. But most importantly, their hearts are prepared. Through prayer and meditation, through study of the prophecies and observation of the star, they have aligned their spirits with heaven's purpose. They are ready not just for the physical journey ahead, but for the spiritual transformation that awaits. The night before their departure, they gather one final time on the rooftop observatory. The star blazes above them with particular brilliance, as if heaven itself is eager for the journey to begin. As you stand with them in those final moments before departure, you can feel the weight of history pressing upon this moment. These 3 men are about to become the first Gentiles to worship the Christ child, the first foreigners to recognize the universal King, the first scholars to discover that all their learning has been preparation for this encounter with divine love made flesh. The star pulses above them, patient but insistent, calling them to step out in faith and follow heaven's light to its destination. Below them, the city of Babylon sleeps, unaware that 3 of its citizens are about to participate in the most significant event in human history. Tomorrow, they will load their camels and begin the journey that will take them across desert and mountain, through danger and hardship, to a humble place where they will kneel before the King of Kings. Tonight, they stand on the threshold between their old life and their new calling, between scholarly observation and active participation in God's plan of salvation. As this first episode draws to a close, you begin to understand the magnificent scope of what you have witnessed. This star was not a cosmic accident or a natural phenomenon that happened to coincide with Christ's birth. It was placed in the heavens before the foundation of the world, waiting for this precise moment to blaze forth and call these specific men to this sacred journey. The Magi were not randomly chosen to witness this sign. They were prepared by generations of influence from Daniel and other Jewish exiles, educated in the prophecies and trained to recognize the signs of the Messiah's coming. Their scholarly pursuits, their astronomical knowledge, their spiritual sensitivity, all of it was preparation for this moment. And you, dear listener, are not accidentally hearing this story. Just as the Magi were called to follow the star to worship the newborn king, you are being called to follow this story to its conclusion, to walk with them every step of the way until you too kneel and encounter the Christ child for yourself. The star continues to shine above ancient Babylon, casting its light on 3 men whose lives had been changed forever by a divine encounter. Tomorrow, they will begin a journey that will take them not just across the known world, but from seeking to finding, from knowledge to worship, from prophecy to fulfillment. As Caspar carefully packs his astronomical instruments, as Melchior secures his precious scrolls, as Balthazar prepares the gifts that will declare Christ's identity to the world, the star waits patiently above them. It knows the destination. It knows the dangers they will face and the joy that awaits them. It knows that their journey will parallel the very life of the one they seek to worship. More importantly, it knows that their story is really our story. The story of every human heart that has ever looked up at the night sky and wondered if there is something more, something greater, something divine calling us home. God placed a star in the heavens before the foundation of the world, knowing exactly when these men would need to see it. Nothing about Jesus' birth or death was accidental. And nothing about your hearing this story today is accidental either. The star still shines, dear friend. The invitation still stands. The King still waits to be worshipped. Will you follow the star? Thank you for joining me tonight as we stood on that ancient rooftop in Babylon, watching heaven announce the birth of its King with a light that had never been seen before. I pray that you carry the wonder of this moment with you, the courage of 3 wise men who left everything to follow a star, the faithfulness of a God who orchestrates every detail of his eternal plan, and the reminder that the same light that called the Magi across the desert is still calling hearts today. May you find strength in knowing that just as God guided their steps through uncertainty and danger, He is guiding yours through every season of seeking, every act of worship, and every step of your own journey to find the King. If this journey with the Magi has stirred your heart, take a moment to share it with someone who might need to follow the star themselves. And be sure to join me next time as we continue walking alongside Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar, from the rooftops of Babylon to the humble king in Bethlehem, learning, growing, and staying faithful in the field of God's eternal love story. Until next time, may you find peace in the quiet, trust in God's call, and rest in His unchanging love. This is In the Field Audio Bible, where we listen to the Bible one chapter at a time. Coming up next on The Star, The Journey, and The Gift. Join Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar through 12 grueling months of desert travel, experiencing scorching sandstorms, water shortages, and crushing doubt where their guiding star disappears each day. Watch as harsh wilderness transforms these scholars into weathered pilgrims whose faith mirrors Christ's future journey to Calvary. But when they reach Jerusalem's golden walls, instead of joyful celebration, they will encounter fear and political intrigue, leading to a dangerous summons from King Herod, testing their faith in ways the desert never could. Don't miss this powerful continuation of the most precious story ever told.